You finished learning Figma. My congratulations, by the way, but now you might be wondering what could be the next step in my career so I could find a job as a UX designer. Let me explain to you in this video. My name is Ines, I'm a principal product designer and a hiring manager with 16 years of experience. My channel is about UX design. Subscribe. If you segue to this video from my free Figma course for complete beginners, it is published all for free in my YouTube channel, so go and check it out. You might have noticed that previously we were talking only about the usage of the tool. We were not touching upon the principles of design system and UX design. My goal was to teach you the basics of Figma to enable you to study further. And I understand that at this point, if you took my course or some other courses, you might be confused about what to do next, how to approach it next. Are you ready to start creating your portfolio? I actually have a system that I'm going to lay you down in this video in details without any fees and additions whatsoever, about how you can study UX design in the most effective way. I started in UX design myself long time ago, 16 years. At that time, the landscape was different. But since then, I hired a lot of designers in my teams. I teach designers in my own school of UX design. And I know which strategies work at this particular point in time. I'm not going to teach you, of course, how I started 16 years ago. Maybe if you are interested, let me know in the comments. I will make you a separate video. But of course, I'm going to give you a roadmap that is going to work right now. So my system consists of 6 phases. I'm going to lay you down all of the phases so that you know where you stand. In my opinion, the first phase is called acquaintance phase. It is when you have just learned that UX design exists as a profession and you might be interested to know if that's a right fit for you or not. I do not recommend spending any money on your education at this particular phase. Because let's be honest, UX design is not a hobby you can try for a year. It's a profession. It could be a really life-changing decision for you if you decide to embark on this journey. So I believe that nobody should approach a decision on changing a profession lightheadedly. And during this phase, your goal, in my opinion, is to understand what this profession entails, how your day-to-day work will look like. What are the people that are working in this profession? Do you like those people? Do you want to work like them? For example, we UX designers, we often work from home. And maybe you are not that type of person who wants to work from home. But I can tell you right away that even if your company will allow you to come to the office 5 days per week, you will notice that your colleagues are not there. They are there maybe for 1 or 2 days per week. Maybe it's not something that you want. Also, another example, UX design entails a lot of sitting in front of a laptop. Maybe again, it's not something that you want and you want to talk with people more. So maybe it's wise if you decide to choose something else. So during this first acquaintance phase, I recommend you watching YouTube videos and talking to people who are in this profession already, maybe subscribing to some content creators and looking at the ways how they go about the day-to-day life, if you like it or not. It is the phase where eventually you will have to decide if you want to spend your time and resources on learning this professional field. But you are probably already on the phase number 2, because in this phase I recommend my students to start learning and mastering Figma. And again, I believe that in this point in time, your decision might not be that mature. You might like how UX design looks, but you are lacking the practice of it, how it feels when you're working in Figma for 8 hours, how it will feel for you inside eventually. And I think if you are mastering Figma, you inevitably will learn some bits and pieces of the workflow that we have in UX design. Yes, UX design is much more than Figma and user interface, because we are also talking to our users, we're conducting research and things like that, but still Figma is big and crucial part. And if you learn Figma at this point in time, it will be easier for you to study further. And because of this reason, I really do not recommend people starting on any courses, free or paid, without mastering Figma, because most of the courses on UX UX UI design will require you to start trying something on practice. And if you have already a tool where you can start trying it out, then it probably means that you will utilize the knowledge from this course in the best way, because you can start implementing it in practice. On the other hand, if you have not mastered Figma by the time you embarked on a free or paid UX design course, when they start giving you tasks on a course to try, you will have to simultaneously learn Figma and also find your ways to solve the task. That's a lot of the overload, and it's much easier if you have already a tool in place. So that's why I have a guess that most of you who are watching this video, you are here at this point, you finished this phase, you feel that you are native in Figma, maybe not completely, maybe there is something to learn still, and maybe you feel that there are still parts of the interface, like variables, for example, where you are not so literate yet, but it's completely fine at this point if you have tried it 1-2 times. It's important that you know it exists and what we approximately use it for. So if you feel this way, if opening Figma right now brings you to excitement and not to stress and frustration because you are afraid of new tool, you are ready to move on to the phase number 3. And during this phase, you should be really smart, in my opinion, because in this phase, you need to learn the basics of UX design. So Figma is a tool where we design user interfaces, but as I said, UX design is so much more than just Figma. And at this point in time, it's great when you start learning and understanding what steps do we have concretely in the design thinking process. And why I said that you have to be really smart about that? Because still, I do not believe that you need to spend a lot of money at this phase yet. And most people I know actually dive into design bootcamps. Yes, bootcamps could be really nice because they give you all the information at once. You can master Figma there, you can also try some things and also create some projects for your portfolio, even if a bootcamp is long enough. But I don't think that it's really necessary to jump on a bootcamp right away and to spend a huge amount of money on it, because yeah, bootcamps, they could be quite pricey. So what I would do instead, and what I recommend my students to do at this phase, is to start on the Google UX certification course on Coursera. I have a video on this channel about whether or not this course worth trying, but for the purpose of my roadmap, it actually fits pretty well because it is a long course. It spans around multiple months and it is giving you quite good ground knowledge. And yes, I said in this video that you can basically learn this foundational knowledge right now in YouTube for free, and it is completely true. But I would still start on a course like Google UX certification course or similar, because I think it is not such a big cost commitment. It differs from country to country how much it costs, but they give you already the structure, because otherwise you will have to search for all of those videos on YouTube, and that will take you significantly longer time to get the same information as from this course. So I still think it is a good price quality combination of what you can get on the market, but it's not the end of this phase. I cannot tell you, unfortunately, that you have finished this course and you are ready to progress to the next phase. Because the thing is that learning by videos that are on demand is actually quite limiting, because you have no one to ask questions. There is no one to correct your mistakes. There is no one to guide you through this journey. And yes, in a Google UX certification course on Coursera, you can request some feedback from your peers, but those are the same people as you are. They have no idea. There are no experts. There are no people who have the actual knowledge. So I believe there is a recipe for real success in this phase. If you will combine an on-demand course about the UX foundations, it might be, by the way, not the UX Google certification course, it just has to be a solid course about the UX foundations that is approximately 2-3 months long, because this is the realistic time that you need to digest the information and for lectors to deliver you this information. And during this time, I recommend my students to ensure they have found a mentor and a community of designers to ask questions, to get feedback, and so on. There are many communities that you can join. There are free communities on Discord about UX design. There are, I don't know, like mentors that you can find for free on the EDPL list. I have my own UX club that you can join, where I do exactly the same as I did. I answer questions, I give feedback, we have weekly meetings, we have unlimited discussions. You can ask all sorts of questions from me. The link to the UX club with my mentorship will be down in the description, but one thing to mention here, we have a limited number of members in the UX club because I want to make sure that I give quality feedback for everyone and I'm not stretched. So if the places are taken, I'm sorry, please join the waitlist and I will appreciate your patience. But anyways, let's get back to the phase and wrap it up. What I want you to achieve. I want you to find a decent on-demand course with a lot of quality videos about the foundations of UX design. And it is ideal if you match it with community and mentors, or find a place somewhere where you can receive timely feedback and course correction on your work, because believe me, you're going to have a lot of questions. It's a profession that people learn from universities. It is not a hobby. And really, I see that people who combine on-demand courses with some mentorship and feedback from professionals, they progress through this phase way faster and they have less questions in the process. And still at this point, the price commitment that you do is really low. It's still not a bootcamp where you pay like, I don't know, few thousands. You can get by with few hundreds of dollars or euros. Also, if by the end of the third phase you will decide that UX design is eventually not for you, it's also okay. And the worst thing that has happened at this point is that you have spent few hundreds to get to know new people, maybe in the UX design community or your mentors, and you now know that there is a new professional field that exists, and maybe, yes, it's not something that you want to do, but now if you will be interacting with interfaces with other UX designers, you will know how to talk with them and what do they do at work. And also, I believe that spending few hundreds on learning that this path is not for you is actually a good knowledge, because otherwise it will be haunting you. You will be thinking for many years, oh, I should have tried UX design, but I did not. Maybe that was the path for me, and so on. Now you know if that's for you or not. Solidly. By the way, if you like this video and you want to receive more videos like that, give me thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below. It's important for me and for YouTube algorithms. And we are moving on. So let's go to the phase number 4, and as I said, the real work is just starting here. Because if you are serious, you need to realize that yes, you now have an overview, but your skills are still not on the industry level. And by saying that, I mean UI design. To master UI design, you need to care about two things. You need to train your designer's eyes, and you need to train your hands. And they are trained more or less separately. A good news here is that to train your designer's eyes is not taking you long, but you need to be still strategic about that. What I mean by training your eyes, you need to start noticing details of UI design, details of visual design. You need to train your perception of colors, your perception of typography. You need to be able to say which UI design is better if you see two options. And in order to achieve that, I'm suggesting always to my students, the exercise to go is to start your day by exploring Dribbble.com. The website will be down in the description. This is an Instagram for UX UI designers. Yes, most of the examples you will see there, they are too creative, they are unrealistic. But it's not the point for you right now to see the realistic examples, because you can open Amazon. It's not beautiful, but it's realistic. And later on, you will know the reasons why Amazon looks like it right now. But you will still, at this phase, you better train yourself with great examples. Think of your brain really as of artificial intelligence. You want your internal AI to produce eventually really nice looking designs. You don't want to be able to produce the designs like Amazon. You can lower your bar to this level at any point in time. So the better are the references that you will give to your brain, the better will be your final result eventually. But there is a second part of mastering UI design, is to train your hand. Because we are humans, we are not machines, we're not artificial intelligence yet. We have this gap between what our eyes can see and what our hands can produce. Robots, they don't have these differences. So think about that as trying to draw. You clearly can see the object, but if you can try to draw it realistically, you will notice that you cannot actually transfer what you see to a piece of paper. Same will happen with your visual design skills. So even if you feed the best collection of UI design to your brains, you will have to learn how to produce it. By the way, feeding great references to your intelligence, it is not something that you do only once. It should be your habit. During the whole phase and even further. Actually, I'm doing that myself for 16 years, and really for many days during my weeks, maybe 2 or 3 even, I pour myself coffee, I open Dribbble and I see what's new in there. I also have other design sources, but Dribbble is still my favorite one because everybody is there. So it's not something that you try once, this is something that you do consistently and you need to put it in practice. Also, the first part about references you can of course do for free. There is no price commitment that is required. Dribbble is for free. But in order to train your hand, you will need one essential piece. That is feedback. Because you can find lots of UI challenges there in the internet. I'm working on my own UI challenge. It's going to be out soon, so stay tuned. But the most important part is that it's not a problem to find what you need to be working on. The problem is to course correct. Because if you will get feedback from mentors that know already which interface is good and which is not, they will give you more precise feedback that you can try, and this will cut you a lot of tries and errors, and you will eventually reach the required level faster. By the way, we have also UI challenges within the club, so you can receive feedback from me there, so go check it out. And eventually, by the end of this phase, your goal is to reach the level that you see on Dribbble, at least approximately, at least 40% of what you see should not be drastically different from what you have in your so-called visual portfolio. It is not going to be a finished UX design portfolio that you can use to apply to your jobs. At the end of this phase, you are going to have various experiments in visual design field. You might post these experiments on Dribbble because, as I said, it is an Instagram for UX designers, so have fun there. But once you have reached the level that they have on Dribbble and you have received positive feedback on your UI from your mentors, you can go to the next phase. And the next phase will be UX portfolio building. Finally, because all of that before that, learning Figma, learning the basics of UX design, mastering UI design, it was the preparation for this phase. Because at this point, you have really mastered Figma, you are working fast, and your UI design level will allow you to produce your case studies that are good on the day one. Because let me tell you what I see happening on the market is that people, they are jumping on UX bootcamps without knowing anything. They are not yet fluent in Figma. The UI design is not yet to the point because their eyes and hands, they are not trained. It's not enough time that has passed for them to achieve the required level. And then on bootcamps, they do some projects that are meant to be placed in portfolios. But what ends up happening is that those projects, they are just not on the necessary level. And those people, they start coming to consultations, to other mentors and asking what can they improve. And most of the time I'm telling them they need to improve the UI. So they will have to make a step back, go to the previous phase, then master the UI and then redo all the cases that they have created. I think it's just too much work, and you can avoid this work if you will place the priority on studying UI design before you will start creating your projects for portfolio. So by the end of this phase, you need to have 4 projects in your portfolio that are done in a really good UI style. But you will probably not be able to do that without having some mentorship and some guidance. That's going to be really challenging. It's not impossible, no, but probably you will have to produce more projects. And again, it will just take you longer. But if you are short on money, of course, this is the better way to go. It's best when you will try out more projects, will have more trial and error, and eventually you will get to the place there where you want to be. But what I would do and what I recommend to my students is to start finally on a bootcamp or a hackathon. Some program that will help you to produce a case study or even two, depending on the program, that you can safely put in your portfolio. And in most programs, you can deepen your knowledge on UX design and also have some practice with simultaneous feedback. This is eventually what is needed. But only be careful about choosing a program. Only choose a program where they give you a realistic business problem to work on. The unrealistic problem would sound like create an application for finding a dog sitter for a weekend. It is actually a task from a UX Google certification course, but they give you this task just for you to try all the stages of the design process. But when you will be starting working in UX design as a junior or entry-level UX designer, you will find out that you are not working on problems that sound like create an application from scratch. You will be working on particular features and parts of the interface. So a good problem would sound more like create a loyalty program for Amazon. So you have already an application, a design system to care about, and you just need to integrate a new workflow to an existing product. This is the best task to solve. It will create the most realistic case studies. So please be careful about choosing a program. Otherwise, you will just spend your money on nothing. And now, once you've reached the end of this phase, I congratulate you because you are moving to the phase number 5, where you can start prepare with your job application. Job application consists of 3 things. You need to master your CV, you need to do it right. I have actually a template that I recommend using for CVs and cover letters. They also have my recommendations on everything. And then after you fill out the templates, you can book a free session with me and we can have a look on them together. The second part of a job application is your portfolio. So by the end of the phase 4, you have your projects ready. And then what is left is that you need to turn them in the case studies, in the storytelling that is eye-catching, that is pleasant to read, and so on. And you need to wrap them up in a nice looking portfolio layout. And the third part of your job application package, so to say, or a skill set, is your skills in job interviews. I have a course on job interviews where I mentor every person through live interactions, and we practice a lot of mock interviews and design challenges. So check the link down in the description as well. But eventually you will need to polish and master all 3 parts. Of course, at this point, feedback is really essential because we are not in the situation in the current job market when we can learn how to do interviews and what is required from our CVs just from the try and error. We need to do some preparation to the job search on our own to be able to perform our best on every job interview that we are able to get. And so this is it. This is the system I'm offering you to try when you have finished with your Figma studying or at any point in your UX design journey, really, because I know that this roadmap works and I see that it saves people a lot of money and resources as opposed to jumping on a UX bootcamp in the very first day when you've got an idea about starting in UX design. And I hope this video was helpful for you and now you know what to do next after you have mastered Figma. If you like this video and you want to receive more videos like that, hit the subscribe button down below and click the bell. This way you will get a notification when a new video comes out. And I see you next time.